The rain was falling so hard it felt like the sky itself was breaking apart. People rushed across the street, covering their heads, running for shelter, cursing the storm that had arrived without warning. But Ayan wasn't running anywhere. He was standing under the weak shade of an old bus stop, his clothes damp, his backpack dripping, and a small hand wrapped tightly around his finger. His 6-year-old daughter, Hani, shivered and pressed against him. "Baba, we're gonna get wet." She whispered "ay" and pulled her closer, wrapping his worn-out jacket around her tiny shoulders. "I've got you, princess. The rain will slow soon." He said it gently, even though he had no idea when the rain would stop. All he knew was that he needed to get Hani home before she fell sick. He couldn't afford another doctor visit, not with the bills already buried on his kitchen counter. Life had been tough ever since his wife passed away 2 years ago, leaving him with a child, a broken heart, and responsibilities that didn't pause for grief. As he kissed Hani's forehead, something caught his eye through the heavy downpour, a shadow stumbling near the intersection. A woman, walking alone, completely soaked. Her steps were uneven, almost like she was about to collapse. At first, Ayan tried to look away. It wasn't his problem. He already had too much to handle. But then he saw her wrap her arms around herself, shivering violently, her hair sticking to her face, her designer heels struggling on the wet pavement. She looked lost, completely helpless. Hani tugged his hand. "Baba, that auntie. She looks cold." Ayan swallowed. His heart tightened. "Stay here, okay? Don't move," he said, and dashed into the rain. As he ran toward the woman, the storm hit him full force. Cold rain slapped his face, soaking him instantly. "Miss, are you all right?" he shouted over the thunder. The woman turned weakly toward him. Her lips were blue, her breathing uneven. My car broke down. My phone died. I can't find a cab." She stuttered, her voice trembling. "You're freezing." "Come with me," Ayan said, offering his jacket even though it meant he would now be drenched. She hesitated, her eyes scanning him quickly, almost defensively. A man in old clothes, soaked, tired, holding on to a stranger in the middle of the night. But something in his eyes was sincere, safe. Finally, she nodded. "Okay." Ayan placed his jacket around her shoulders, supporting her as she walked. When they reached the bus stop, Hani stared with wide eyes at the elegant, shivering woman wrapped in her father's jacket. "Auntie, you're wet," she said innocently. The woman let out a shaky smile. "Yes, sweetheart. I'm very wet." Ayan opened his backpack, pulling out the small towel he always carried for Hani. Without thinking twice, he handed it to the woman. "Use this? You need it more than she does." The woman blinked, surprised by the gesture. "You're very kind. I don't even know your name." "Ayan," he replied. "And this is Hani." "I'm Zara," she said softly. "Thank you for helping me. I didn't expect anyone to stop." Ayan shook his head. "Anyone would help. You were shaking." But Zara gave a tiny, knowing smile. "No. Not everyone stops for a stranger in the rain." Ayan didn't respond, but the truth echoed in his heart. People rarely stopped for him either. Minutes passed, the rain still roaring, the wind still cold. Zara's condition worried him, her hands trembled, her lips were pale. "You're freezing. You can sit in the cafe across the street. They'll let you warm up." Zara looked around, uncomfortable. "I lost my bag in the car. I don't have money with me." Ayan exhaled slowly. He didn't have much either. In fact, he barely had enough to buy dinner that night. But the woman beside him looked like she could collapse any moment. "I'll get you some hot tea," he said. Zara's eyes widened. "No, you've already done too much." "It's just tea," Ayan said, forcing a smile. "You need it." He guided her to the small cafe, bought her a cup of hot tea with the last cash he had, and watched as warmth slowly returned to her face. Zara stared at him, confused, touched, almost emotional. "You helped me." "Without expecting anything," she whispered. Ayan shrugged. "Sometimes people just need kindness. That's all." Zara looked at him for a long moment, studying the tired lines on his face, his worn clothes, the tenderness with which he cared for his daughter. She had no idea that the man who saved her would walk into her office the next morning, and that she was the CEO. But destiny was already smiling quietly in the background. The next morning, Ayan woke up early, leaving Hani with her neighbor before hurrying toward the office he had recently joined as a junior technician. His salary wasn't great, but it was stable, and stability was something he desperately needed. Every step he took reminded him of the night before the storm, the shivering woman, the look in her eyes when he handed her tea. He wondered if she made it home safely. Then he shook the thought away. Their worlds were different. She was someone who wore expensive heels in the rain. He was someone who struggled to buy a new pair of shoes for his daughter. Life didn't bring such people together more than once. Ian reached the office building, swiped his card, and walked inside with the same quiet determination he carried every day. But something felt strange as soon as he entered. People were rushing around, whispering anxiously, "CEO is coming today. She hasn't been here for a week. Everyone line up." Ian didn't pay much attention. He just took his toolbox and followed the supervisor to the conference hall where a projector had stopped working. As he knelt to fix it, the room fell into sudden silence. He heard heels clicking on the polished floor. Soft but authoritative, confident, yet elegant. The supervisor straightened instantly. "Good morning, ma'am." Ian continued tightening a screw until a familiar voice spoke. "Good morning. Is everything ready for the meeting?" His hand froze. That voice. Slowly he lifted his head, and their eyes met. Zara. But not the drenched, trembling woman from last night. This Zara stood tall and composed, wearing a crisp white suit. Hair perfectly styled, confidence radiating from her like royalty. For a moment, neither of them moved. Her lips parted slightly in pure shock. The man who saved her in the rain was kneeling in her conference room, fixing equipment. "Ian?" she whispered softly. The supervisor blinked, confused. "You two know each other?" Zara didn't answer. She stepped closer, her eyes fixed on Ian with disbelief, gratitude, and something deeper, something emotional. "You saved my life last night," she said quietly, and just like that, every worker in the room stared at Ian with wide eyes. Ian stood, awkward and uncomfortable under the sudden attention. I just helped because you needed it," he muttered. Zara looked at him for another long second, her expression softening in a way no one had ever seen from her before. "Come to my office after the meeting," she said. "Please." The word "please" from the CEO was enough to make the whole room gasp. But Ian only nodded. "Yes, ma'am." After the meeting, Ian walked nervously toward her office. His hands were sweaty, his heart racing. He had no idea why she called him. He worried he had done something wrong, maybe helping her last night created some misunderstanding. But when he entered, Zara stood from her chair with a warm, grateful smile he hadn't expected. "I didn't get to thank you properly," she said. "You went out of your way to help me, even when you didn't have much yourself." Ian looked down. Anyone would have done the same. "No," Zara replied firmly. "Trust me. Not everyone helps. And certainly not in the way you did." She walked closer, her voice softening. "Ian, you gave me your jacket, your towel, your last money. Why?" He lifted his eyes, meeting her gaze with quiet sincerity. "Because you looked like you needed someone. And I know how that feels." Zara's breath hitched. For a moment, the CEO disappeared, and only the woman who shivered in the rain remained. She sat on the edge of her desk, watching him closely. "Tell me about your daughter," she said. Ian hesitated, then told her everything about losing his wife, raising Hani alone, struggling but never giving up. As he spoke, Zara listened with a softness that surprised even herself. There was no judgment, no pity, only genuine admiration. "You're a good father," she whispered when he finished. "Hani is very lucky." Ian smiled faintly. "I'm just trying my best." Zara looked at him for a long, thoughtful moment before saying, "I want to offer you something." Ian froze. "A promotion," she continued. "A better position, better pay, flexible hours so you can take care of your daughter." Ian stared at her, stunned. I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Zara replied gently. "Let me help. Just a little, the way you helped me." His voice shook. "Why are you doing this?" Zara stepped closer, her eyes soft but intense. "Because kindness deserves to be returned. And because I haven't stopped thinking about you since last night." Ian's heart pounded. He didn't expect that. Not from the CEO, not from a woman like her. She extended her hand. "Let's change your life, Ian, together." And when he took her hand, something warm and unexplainable passed between them, a spark that began in the rain and was only growing stronger.